to take reality for a ride.
Growing up, I have always been fascinated about the concept and origin of time. Time, not necessarily in the sense of it being a man made construct intended to describe, monitor, or control our individual output, but time in a more innate way of things happening or things taking place. The question of why now? Like, of all the times you could have heard the sound of my voice or listened to this lecture, it had to be right now. Doesn't that sort of bug you? I remember I'd stay up late in the night trying to hunt down answers right from articles down to pseudosciences, which included personal beliefs of people and their theories, which might or might not have had basis in scientific fact. I didn't care, because who's to decide what is true and what isn't? I'd say that to myself. But I was completely bowled over by these speculations of time and the happenings of things. I'd ask myself, why, of all other centuries, I'd have to be born in the 21st? Of all other days and months, it had to be the 7th of March. Why I had to be who or how I am? Ask yourself that. Of all other periods you could have been born, why did it have to be the one you're familiar with, the one you're aware of, the one you call your date of birth? Why do things happen around us? Why did you have to get your dream job? Why did you have to drop out of college? Why you had to fall in love with the wrong person and have your heart broken? And along with all other things that is happening to your life right now. Why does it have to be so? Have you ever given that a thought? Do it. But after a while, you'd realize you're okay. There's this feeling of contentment as to being, if not so good, at least just okay. Because which century would you rather be born? Who else would you rather be? Well, you might have answers to these questions, but there will be nothing but fantasies. Problems are inevitable, I'm aware of that. But why now? I still ask myself. And I came to a rather subtle conclusion that time, in a context of how things happen, is an infinite probability intended to achieve a fixed result. Think of it like existence. Take that probability. How I could have presently lived as a virus, a chicken, even a fruit fly. And if I were a fruit fly, I probably wouldn't be here delivering this sort of lecture right now, because I'd be busy dying, because I'd have 40 to 50 days. But out of this infinite probability, there's you listening to me right now. Weird, right? When you look at pseudosciences related to space and astronomy, there's an interesting belief that the Earth's position around other celestial bodies at the time and place you're born has an impact in your everyday life, from your personality, impulses, your relationship and love life, and other life activities. Aries, Leo, Cancer, Pisces, all the way down to Aquarius under the elements of air, fire, earth, and water. Whilst others flat out mock and find this popular signs laughable, I for one was amazed this whole diversity of individual impulses was derived, if you look at it closely, from the difference in place and time of a happening, which in this case would be birth or being born.
But really, what is time? It is a phenomenon everyone is familiar with, literally. Microseconds, seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, years, decades, centuries, galactic years, aeons. It goes on and goes on and on and on. Time doesn't stop to think. It never has. It never will. And there's no end to it that anybody knows or can think of. Also, isn't it quite weird how something so vague and mysterious has been made unavoidable to run our lives? And it's either going to make or break you. Now, imagine someone walks up to you and asks you to draw time. What would you draw? You would pause, give it a thought, and you're gonna draw a clock or a watch with its minute and hour hand designated to any point of your choice. Or if you're a little artistic enough, you draw a calendar with X's over each day to represent the passing of time. But that'll be all there is to it when you draw these things. Yes, there would be just physical representations, a unit of thought and measurement intended to catch a hold onto reality. But these drawings and the depictions would only scrape upon the surface of the enigma that is time. So then, is time an illusion? But before that, I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to try to imagine. Remember the first time you were finally able to ride your bicycle? Or when your grandma taught you how to knit? That special birthday celebration you had? The fun times during the summer? Your first love? Your first kiss? Do you remember the time? And that's where you're wrong. You don't. You don't remember the time. You recall the memories of it. It's a tricky concept. Think of a film projector from the late 70s and the early 80s. A film projector creates changes by using different still images that appear to have some sort of fluid or continuous changes between them. And by flipping through each and every single image fast enough, our brains perceive the movement or the passage of time through the sequence of the still images, because no single image contains the passage of time. But it's a property that's acquired as a result of how the pieces are strung together. So from that, the movements are real, yet an illusion, and that's no different from time. What are those sayings of time? It is of the essence. Sure is. Time waits for no man. Well, yes, because time isn't even aware of itself. Or when you say you don't have time, when did you ever? Time is abstract and should therefore be treated as such. If you treat time like it's something so tangible, you feel short of it just like any other asset. Now, the universe has been going on for an incredibly long time. It was going on before you were born, and it will still go on even after you're dead and gone. So if you're ever too late to do something, it would have been a zillion years ago. What I am saying is, sometimes you just have to begin to see the unreality of time, its hallucinatory quality, and it'll have conventional sense and result in doing what we ought to do and not feel like we're behind, not feel like we're being barricaded or limited. So if there's something you're always wanted to do, like finish a book, join a club, start a band, start working out, or be on a diet, whatever it might be, just know you're never too late. Think of yourself as a clock, check the time, and by that check yourself and be like, oh, I'm right on time, and then you just do it. And every other second should be your second chance to forgive a loved one, your second chance to forgive yourself for something you did or anything. time is elusive, and you could either be on the good or the bad side of it. It's all up to you. It's either one day or day one. You decide.